Have you back.
Hi, Paul. Nice to be back.
And thanks for letting me take a few minutes here. I thought we would talk a little bit about inversions as they're done in yoga as a possible treatment for migraine. So in yoga, they frequently talk about myriad benefits that can happen by practicing inversions. So inversions are simply exercises that invert the body, or they get the body upside down. That's simple. So some of the poses in yoga are headstands, handstands, shoulder stands. Even something like downward dog is a partial inversion because the torso is upside down. So you could say down dog is a very accessible inversion because you don't have to put a lot of weight on the head. Some of the more advanced inversions can be difficult and challenging and perhaps dangerous for a beginner. So the inversion I'm going to show you today, it's a variation on a shoulder stand, and what it does is it'll help open up the musculature in the shoulder girdle and the neck. And then one of the really deep benefits of inversions is that this blood and oxygen kind of massages the glands, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid. All of these glands get oxygenated and infused with blood, and it can increase their performance. And I think there's a general improvement in circulation in the brain.
Awesome.
Now I'm going to quickly show you a couple of really good yoga books. Here is, this is Yoga for Wellness. I don't know if you can see that. Gary Kraftsow.
Yeah.
That's a really good book. This is Moving Toward Balance. This is Rodney Yee, famous yoga practitioner. This was my yoga teacher. This is Godfrey Devereaux, Dynamic Yoga. That's an excellent book. And then a really good book, this is an Italian woman, Vonda Scaravelli. This is a really beautiful book, and it's called Awakening the Spine. And the neat thing about that is she kind of invites yoga to be this natural expression of the body, and she compares opening the body to natural phenomena. There's some really beautiful analogies in that book. But anyway, I'm going to show you this inversion now. So this is a shoulder stand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my hip up against the wall. I'm going to put my legs up the wall with my back on the floor. I'm going to center my head so that I'm looking straight up at the ceiling. We want to keep the head centered so there's no strain on the neck. And you want to avoid pressing through the cervical vertebrae into the floor. You want to relax the neck and let the cervical vertebrae be as free as they can while you open up this area. So
now, Paul, one question. Is it okay to feel a little stretch in the neck, or are you supposed to feel no stretch at all?
Okay. For someone like yourself, I would advise you to progress very cautiously with this. If you're a first-time yoga practitioner or someone who has ailments that they're trying to use yoga for, you really want to cultivate sensitivity while you practice these things. And in your case, since you do have these migraines, I'm thinking there's probably some relationship to tightness in the shoulders.
Yeah.
So you're going to find that as soon as you lift your pelvis up, you're probably pretty soon going to start feeling a stretch up in the back of the neck and into the shoulders. Now, it's okay to feel some stretch, but you want to let it open gently. You don't want to force it.
Good.
So especially for yourself, I would say just go to that point where you just start feeling a little bit of a stretch. And then hang out there for as long as it's comfortable. And then you'll find that if you continue to practice this once a day over time, you will be able to go more deeply into the stretch. The whole area will open up, and then you may eventually find yourself being comfortable in an inversion for extended periods of time. And it's suggested that as you increase amount of time spent in inversions, you also increase benefits to the body as a whole.
And how long time is a long time? I mean, are we talking 10 minutes? Are we talking a half an hour?
Yeah, I would say a half an hour in an inversion is a long time.
Okay.
So for someone like you, I wouldn't, maybe a few minutes in the beginning. Depends how you feel. Depends how you
Right.
feel and if you're enjoying it,
Yes.
So, I'll show you real quick what it can look like. First, I'm
Yes.
gonna do a pose that I would recommend you do for a couple of weeks before you try the later position, and then I'll show a full. It's not a full shoulder stand, but it's a shoulder stand with legs off the wall. Um, it's still not a. It's still an accessible pose that's not extremely dangerous, but for you, I would approach it slowly.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, to keep the camera on me. Let's just if you start talking, the camera will shift back to you. Just giving you a heads up.
I'll be quiet while you do the exercise.
Okay, okay. So it's important to take the shoulders away from the ears towards the wall. Kind of anchor the shoulder blades down the back. Keep your head centered. Place your elbows on the floor beside your waist and flatten your feet on the wall and gradually roll the pelvis up off the floor. And you might even stop here if you're already feeling a stretch. But if everything's good, you can keep lifting the pelvis. And as the pelvis gets higher and higher, you may find you need to inch your feet up the wall a little. If the stretch opens up enough, you may eventually reach the point where you have the torso almost vertical. But it's important to keep the neck relaxed and make sure you're not pressing down through the cervical vertebrae into the floor. And then for you, you could hold this for a few minutes every day for a few weeks. And then if everything felt safe, using your hands to support the lower back or the back of the pelvis, you could take one leg off the wall and then perhaps the other. And you want to maintain integrity in the torso, and you press down through the shoulders into the floor. You press down through the shoulders, and gradually the whole area will release. It's a really powerful stretch. It's really useful.
Thank you so much, Paul, for showing me that. I'm definitely going to try that out. And actually, when I think about it, one time I read years ago in some magazine about a guy who used to suffer a lot from headaches and migraines, and he cured himself by standing on his head for half an hour every day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe, and now that you are talking about it, there's some kind of synchronicity here that I'm definitely going to try that out and see if that can, it definitely can't hurt anything. And also what I think about, Paul, is that a lot of the things that I have spent money on treatment-wise have not helped me as much as exercising, as free stuff that's very simple that you can do from your own house. So
Yeah, I think that's a huge
I like that
focus.
everybody can do this. And I'm definitely gonna look more into it, and then I'll keep you posted. I'll do it every day, and then keep you posted on how's it going.
Great, great. I know you have to go, Gitta, but can you give me a preview? I think you made a list of some topics you want to cover. Can you give me what are some of the topics we're going to do in some of our...
I'm thinking the difference between spirituality and religion could be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we could talk about the MacDougall versus the Doug Graham 80-10-10 diet.
Yes.
Which one do we prefer and why, and benefits and pros and cons. And I would also like to do a video about why all cooked food is not the same.
Okay. Yeah.
And I am thinking about, I think both you and I are very much into both the subject of healing the body, but
Yeah.
also the subject of the animals and the environment. So there are like kind of two groups as I see it. We can discuss the people who are in it for healing, who are sick now or feel sick, versus the people who already feel fine, they don't have a particular disease. What's the motivational factor to go vegan if you don't have a disease? What's the motivational factor to go vegan if you do have a disease? Because I think there's some different motivating forces behind each one.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, so these are top, but I'm thinking we should keep this video for to be no more than maybe 12 minutes or so, and then
Yeah.
so people they don't get bored. So
Okay.
okay.
All right.
But
So we'll
Paul,
cut it
thank you for
there.
doing the interview with me, and I know that both part 1 and part 2 of the long interviews we did together, they should be up on your Raw and Vegan page.
They are. They're already up, and some people are viewing them. So thanks for taking the time to do those, Gitta. And my apologies to the viewers. I did get a little carried away with the questions on those. So Gitta's going to rein me in on that.
Oh, that's fine. That's perfect. You did very well. But let's talk later, Paul. Take care.
Take care, Gitta.
Bye.
Bye.